Alright. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Emeritus Professor Tan Sri Dr. Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Director of International Islamic University of Malaysia. Our distinguished speaker, Emeritus Professor Dr. Ismawi Haji Zain, Professor Dr. Hamzah Muhammad Saleh, Dean International Institute for Halal Research and Training, our moderator for today, members of the University Management Committee, Associate Professor Dr. Lihana Burhan, Director Office of Knowledge for Change and Advancement, Organizer for Murabbi Talk Series, Deans and Directors, brothers and sisters, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Welcome to IIUM Murabbi Talk Series featuring Emeritus Professor Dr. Ismawi Haji Zain with the topic Internationalization, what I thought it meant for IIUM. What is Murabbi Talk Series? Murabbi Talk Series is a platform for all IIUM community members to learn from the wisdom and experience of highly esteemed speakers who we regard as Murabbi, so that we may become better persons in carrying out our duties and responsibilities. I am Muhammad Azim Azrai, a fourth-year student from Kuliah of Engineering, and I am honored to be the MC for today. So let us begin with the recitation of Mukitab Al-Fatiha. Amin, amin, ya rabbal alamin. As of now, we have about 50 speakers, 50 participants in our Zoom and IIM official YouTube channel who are eager to listen to Emeritus Professor. To all participants, please record your attendance. Link is available in the chat room and also in the meeting log. Before that, it is my pleasure to have the
Azim, proceed. Rector will join later, inshallah.
Okay. I was looking for the rector. Okay. Inshallah, now I will hand over the session to the moderator for today, Professor Dr. Hamzah Muhammad Saleh. Professor, you may take the floor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Yang berbahagia Emeritus Professor Tan Sri Zulkifli Abdul Razak, Rector of the International Islamic University Malaysia. Our distinguished speaker yang berbahagia Emeritus Professor Dr. Ismawi Haji Zain, members of the University Management Committee, Dr. Lihana Burhan, Director, Office of Knowledge for Change and Advancement, the organizer for the Murabbi Talk Series, deans, directors, professors, lecturers, brothers and sisters, viewers and listeners on Zoom and YouTube channel. Welcome again if you just joined to the Murabbi Talk Series, which is again a reminder organized by Office of Knowledge for Change and Advancement on behalf of the university. My name is Hamzah Muhammad Saleh and I'm a lecturer at the International Institute for Halal Research and Training. And I will be serving as your moderator for the next 75 to 90 minutes, inshallah. You'll be hearing a presentation from Yang Berbahagia Emeritus Professor Dr. Ismawi Haji Zain. But before we get started and allowing him to speak for about 60 to 70 minutes, let me give you a brief background of the person that I know about Ismawi Haji Zain. Okay. As indicated by my colleague just now, Dr. Hamidun, just before this was streamed live, Professor Emeritus or Emeritus Professor Dr. Ismawi Haji Zain was born in 1953, and he hailed from Kampung Gedong, Samarahan, Sarawak. He did his bachelor in urban and regional planning from at the University of Technology Malaysia and graduated in 1978. He then pursued his postgraduate studies at the University of Edinburgh in 1982 and 1994. According to the brief biodata that I have, upon finishing his bachelor degree, he joined Reka Rancang Sendirian Berhad and continued to do so on part-time and consultancy basis when he was appointed as an academic staff, firstly in his alma mater, University Technology Malaysia in 1978, then at the International Islamic University Malaysia, IUM, and finally the Al-Madinah International University. While at IIUM, Emeritus Professor Ismawi Haji Zain was the founding dean for the Kuliah of Architecture and Environmental Design. I believe it was, if I recall correctly, 1996. He was also the Deputy Director of IUM, Planning and Development from 1995 to 2005, and he is instrumental in the development and expansion of the campuses in Gombak as well as in Kuantan. This one I just picked up this morning. I forgot about his role. He also served as the Dean of International Institute of Islamic Thought and Civilization from July 2012 until June 2013. In the professional arena, he has been involved in local and international projects. I will just read some of them. He was appointed by the Islamic Development Bank, Jeddah, to prepare campus master plans for universities in Mozambique and Afghanistan. He was also appointed by the government of Saudi Arabia as a member of the International Panel for the Expansion of Masjid al-Haram. He was also appointed by the government of the United Arab Emirates to be the lead consultant for the planning, design, and construction of Waqf hostel project at IIUM. He also was involved in the planning, design, and construction of the new Istana Negara, the palace, Jalan Duta, Kuala Lumpur, as well as the National Car Complex at Shah Alam, as well as the North-South Highway, the landscape plan. Emeritus Professor Dr. Ismawi Haji Zain was awarded the Tokoh Ma'al Hijrah at the Sarawak state level in 2010. And he also received the Maulidur Rasul Award in 2011, one of the 6 recipients in that year. With that brief introduction, Yang Berbahagia Emeritus Professor Dr. Ismawi Haji Zain will deliver his talk entitled Internationalization, What I Thought It Meant for IIUM. Please, Prof. Ismawi. Prof. Ismawi.
Prof. Hamza is not connected to the audio. If I'm not mistaken, I can't see the mic next to his.
Oh, we had a test run just now. It was just fine. Can the organizer contact Prof. Ismawi?
Hold on a second, Prof. Hamza.
We had a test run a few minutes ago and it was just fine. Okay, while waiting for Prof. Ismawi, you are welcome to write your questions in the chat box, or you can ask.
Yeah.
Boleh.
Okay.
Prof.
Alright.
Ismawi?
Yeah, saya.
Okay, you can start now. I've already given your introduction.
Okay.
So please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thanks to the moderator, Prof. Hamzah. And I was informed that there is possibility that Prof. Zul is here. I don't know whether he's here or not. But and then to Dr. Associate Professor Dr. Lehana, the deans, lecturers, and whoever is with us now. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, I was given a topic on internationalization in IRUM, and finally we decided that that internationalization and what I thought it meant to IRUM. That's to me, because it is this is a sharing of what you call the thoughts that we have on how IRUM should be moving forward, and how it started and how it should move forward. So I prepared along this line, but it's okay because if there is anybody else who has a different opinion, I'm prepared to listen, because I think the video, okay.
Prof. Ismawi, are you still with us?
Mute, Prof. Unmute.
Yeah. Okay. So
Prof unmute tu.
okay. All right. Can you hear me? Who is starting? Can I? Doesn't move.
Okay, Prof. Okay.
Okay. So can we start?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. You can start with the first video. And then can you? Are you operating from there or what?
Screen nampak kan semua?
Nampak
Yes,
screen?
yes.
Yes. Now kat first
Yeah,
slide,
we can start now. All right. Can we?
Rosemary, okay.
Yes. Prof, you are unmute again. Prof, you are unmute. Please unmute.
All right. Okay. So actually, I reported for duty at IOM in PJ on the 2nd of June 1996. I was supposed to start on the 1st, but the 1st was a public holiday. So because it was my second external secondment, so to say, I actually had the first secondment when I was sent to Saudi Arabia to King Abdulaziz University in 1985. So I had I could anticipate the situation where I would be amongst people from different countries in the world. I did not have very much knowledge of IIUM at that time, except for the fact that I was helping just few months after that, before that, helping with the preparation of the curricula for CAED program. That was my first actually what do you call it, connection with IIUM. Then but I could anticipate, and actually when I when I was in IIM for the first time, I thought we are quite in a different different country, because many of the staff were international in that sense, and then so as students, and of course the way the university was managed was quite different, in a sense that it was not really like the universities that I'm used to. It was more like the university that I was in, King Abdulaziz University, because the style and the way of the management of the university. So, but because of the little experience I had with King Abdulaziz University, so I had some. I did not take much time to do to be what they call it, to acclimatize in the what I common for the term. So Rosnani, can you have another slide? Yeah, I was given this blue text file, and not one, I think it's more than one, and they contain long and many statements of next, and then statement of vision. Sorry, the one before that. Statement of vision, mission, and goals of the university, and then because there was so many of them, it's quite difficult to actually understand, and I was finding myself, I say, well, this is quite a job, I of course I feel quite it was quite difficult start for me, because life suddenly become there is this big long list of things that you need to do, or rather to target for. So Rosnani, next one. Next one, can you? Okay. So I thought, what have I landed myself into? Is definitely under the, of course, an understanding at that time, because to understand all this goal, all this what do you call it, vision and statement of mission. I think there were more than 20 of them, and also the goals that were stated there. It really took a long time if I really want to go through them one by one, and so and then next one, Rosnani. Okay, then before I could even actually settle down to start preparing for my kuliah, because I was only alone there, there was practically only me and my secretary. We were in the corner of this office of the second office of the rector then, and there was nobody else to help me. And then suddenly they gave me another job, which is to actually be in charge of the development of the campus. At that time, there were a lot of problems with the campus. I mean, it's quite a way to start your life, and but nonetheless, I think we have to do the job, and then there is it. So I thought that in the beginning, when I got this second job, which is the campus development, that it is a good thing in a way for me, because I could translate the vision, mission, and goals of IIUM into the campus itself. So it gave life. I mean, some way of actually realizing things, and I'm used to this sort of living two life at the same time, because I'm always teaching at the same time, doing practical thing at the same time, professional practice at the same time. So it is not, it's not something that is new to me. But the only problem was that because I was alone, and there was my secretary, and I never actually know how to actually ask somebody to detect anything from me. So I didn't actually know what to give her to do at that time in the beginning. So So there you are, you know. But my conclusion that time was that that international or rather IIUM and the statements were more of intent rather than object. It did not really describe the university as such, but more in terms of intent of the university. So I was reading internationalization in the international as part of the university's name. So I was thinking of that how to actually make the university achieves its internationalization, what do you call it, objectives, you know. So I think that's where the key of the thing is. Next, Rosnani. Next slide, please. Okay. Sorry. Next slide. My computer keep on muting itself. You know, I don't know. Maybe somebody can help me there. So, but years later, as I said, there was this. The Prof Kamal actually summarized the whole thing into the triple ICE. It was easier for us to understand: integration, Islamization, internationalization, and comprehensive excellence. So, so there we are, and we have to we can move forward much easier at that time. Then next. So next, Nani. Next, please. Yeah. So sorry. Next. Before that. Sorry. Okay. Next. Before that. Sorry. Okay. Next. All right. So we started. You know, I mean, the idea of IIUM, I think, is a continuum. The idea of continuum of Islamic civilization, and I was, you know, thinking of that. One of the things about us being in the Islamic Ummah is the fact that we actually seek knowledge from anywhere. So and that's how we are moving. So next. So it became clear that to me at the time that IIUM is actually a project. You know, I'm a planner, a project, and to my mind, that it is a transformational leadership in higher education. So we are actually thinking about something different from other universities, and that's why I feel that now, to tell you honestly, I feel quite uneasy about the way the higher education is moving in Malaysia now, because we are actually not giving enough, as far as I'm concerned, about how universities should actually move forward, and because of this, so we are creating a new phenomenon to me, not just a physical campus, but also university as a system. So if we look at, if we talk to Abdul Hamid Abdul Sulaiman, for example, Allah Yarhamah, and we actually get the idea that he was trying to set up something new, something different from other universities that we are used to, not only in Malaysia, but also in overseas, different countries. And he was actually thinking of something else. So, and next, so it was when I remember reading back the fact that IIUM aims at recapturing the central position of Islam in all fields of knowledge. That was one of the mission statement at that time, and to me, the word recapturing means that we had been there before, and I think this is the key to the whole thing. We had been there before, so we should start where we have left, or at least learn from where we are. Rosnani keep on doing yes. So it's where we were before, and then next, and so we have to actually. What I was thinking that we have to start where we left, and so then clearly internationalization was meant to be a strategy for IIUM to claim its spot in the global higher education scene with a very clear Islamic sound. The idea that we are not just moving as an international university, but we are moving as an international university with an Islamic agenda, a Umatic agenda. So, so this is how I look at it in the beginning. I said, what do we need to initiate? At that time, I was doing two things. Of course, I was the dean of the CAED, and I need to initiate the CAED program. And then we have to lead in the sense that we have to be able to actually draw upon our experience and lead the team in doing that. At that time, Prof. Dr. Ramzi was still not around. He was still a student. And then we have to draw up the strategic and the action plan for the university. So I thought this is what we should be going on. So the first, in terms of transformation, not too fast. Okay. Okay. So in terms of transformation, toward Islamization, the first one, I think we have to understand what the word Islam internationalization should be, and then to set up this ethos of internationalization, and the third one, I think, is the construct or international construct of knowledge that we are talking about, and then we have to talk about international innovation and diffusion of knowledge that we had in the university. So our target, at the end of the day, is to produce a holistic Muslim professional. So that I thought was a simple, what do you call it, idea about what the university was about, you know. So at the end of the day, I think it's all part of the university should be actually going toward that. So next. So the first one, as I said, is understanding internationalization with the Islam international ethos. For example, the demographical background of the student and staff, which is the normal thing that all international universities are doing, or with a set of unique curricula that are moderated to address the job market across the world, or even the other type of market, and then targeting international standards that proved to be, of course, clearly elusive now and evolving. But that's what university is about. Anyway, we have to actually we stop there, Rosnai, for a moment. So we have to actually understand that we are part of the overall higher education system throughout the world, and we have to target that we are actually contributing toward this objectives of trying to bring knowledge from our perspective to the world, not actually just as what do you call it, spreading the knowledge that they already have, but rather for us to actually sort of it is our role as IIUM to actually to come up with a new interpretation, or at least an interpretation from our perspective on what some of the knowledge, the field in that we have, so the knowledge field that we have already, and so I think this is something that was very challenging to me, and I get very excited about it when I was in IIUM, because at the end of the day, we are actually what do you call it, putting forward the case for ourselves, and the reason why I talk about Ummatic here is because I think the international part of the university, at least in the beginning, must try to actually address the Ummah rather than just overall, I mean, the whole world for that matter, because I think we must be very modest in that sense that we need to actually know what our problems are. And I think one of the objectives of setting up of IIUM was actually to address the problems that are faced by the Muslim Ummah throughout the world, not only in Malaysia but throughout the world, on in relation vis-a-vis to other people of the world. So because I think we have our unique problem. We have our unique issues, and we have our unique what do you call it objectives in life. And because of that, I think we need to actually really in the beginning, I think the idea that the university must actually be tailored toward addressing all this problem. Of course, we cannot live on our own. We have to be part of the overall system. So next one, Rosnani. Okay. So Ummatik is already actually by itself is already a global international, but of course we have to consider other people like non-Muslim communities. They are actually part and parcel of the amanah that we have, which is the role of the Khalifah. So our task is not only directed just toward the Muslim community, but also everybody and even the whole environment for the matter, because this is our thought. So international relations must be first targeted to me to make us ummatic, in the sense that we want to rebuild back the ummah that we have, because we have been, I think, through the incidences of history, we have been fragmented, we have been divided, we have been made to think about ourselves only rather than other part of the university. I mean, of the ummah. So our life we have to reconstruct our society in that sense. Okay, next. So the second part is that we have to set the ethos of internationalization. So here, you stop there for a while. Here, I think the important thing is that the administration of the university should address educational issues across the ummah, understanding, tolerant toward different culture background. This is where I have, to tell you honestly, I have some problem in IIM, because I think while we talk about being an international university, we are a little bit not too international in our mindset. I mean, we had always divided ourselves into international and local or Malaysian staff, rather than thinking of ourselves as the whole thing about being what do you call it on the as the whole part of the university. I think this is the idea. I see this, even we have problem in administration, for example, where our staff, for example, I think we are not actually really trained to actually address some particular issues that come from various students from different parts of the world. And I think this is where we are actually a little bit lacking compared to when we are studying overseas, for example. You know, in overseas, they try to show very, they try to understand us. You know, we come from different part of the world, we come from different societies. So, but here, I think, I don't know now, but in the early days when I was there was this like some sort of we call ourselves international. I mean, international universities, but the fact that we actually not really fully gel together. And I mean, maybe I'm wrong in my opinion, but I think the fact that we try too hard, I think that's the word. I think we try too hard to actually get international student or staff to be like us. And I think we need to be a little bit more tolerant across the different culture. Okay, next. So the demographic composition, of course, in the early days of IUM, we have more international students. I think we have we take in more. We had some ways to do that. But at the same time, I think what one forgot at the time was that the international university, as international university, we were trying to actually get our own student, our Malaysian student, to think on the international, to be international in their mindset. You see, to think that not they are just local student, but rather to think differently from some other student from other universities, in the sense that they are actually part of a bigger organization, at least the Ummah, and then they have to think in terms of the achievement. So they cannot actually just be happy that they are solving or they are looking at the local issues. At the same time, they cannot be just. I think this idea of being what you call a different set of people. I think this is something which we have a problem here in Malaysia, because sometimes we look at regions, sometimes we look at races, and something like that. Okay. So next. So we have to also, I think, understand the current situation that we have. There are a lot of problems facing the Islamic world, and our hands are full of that without us even trying to get involved with some other people. I mean, in terms of trying to solve a problem. But I think many of the problems are interactive, or rather interconnected. And the sense that what our problem is also a problem of other people, and so as vice versa. Now, so because of that, I think we need to be able to actually try to understand what are the main issues that are affecting the Islamic world. One of the things that I could see was something, for example, related to the idea of finance and banking and whatever. I think this is where we made our major inroad into this, but I think we still need to do more into that. And then there are other things, like, for example, the way we interpret. For example, I was talking to Dr. Lehana just now. They are the question of psychology, for example, and even in Kaed. I mean, this whole idea of so-called Islamic architecture and Islamic environment is compared to the Western architecture and whatever. I think we need to be able to actually come up with the idea at the end of the day that, things that we are doing are supposed to be because of our background as Muslims, and the fact that we want to set up an environment that is actually conducive for the living of everybody, especially the Muslim. Okay, next one, and then we have to draw up this curricula. I was asked to draw up the curricula for Kaed, and we were reading through many things, and then and of course the methodology is very important. The idea of how you are actually to start to Islamicize the Western knowledge that originate from the Western people, and then adapting them to the methodology of Islam. Maybe there are many what do you call it, approach to that, or rather methodology to that. But I was as far as Kaed is concerned, we were more trying to use the methodology of trying to actually understand the Western knowledge, and then adapting and actually comparing and actually infusing Islamic values and perspective into that. Okay. So one of the first people that talked about this, of course, was Maulana Iqbal, and of course after that we have Faruqi and the others, and I think this is something that we have to keep on going. I don't know the situation now in the IUM, but I think we need to actually push and carry this to a higher level. The idea of how actually we can infuse and slowly actually turn this profession that we are teaching, or rather the field of knowledge that we're teaching in the IIUM into, without calling it Islamic thing, but it's actually Islamic in that sense. Okay, right. Next. So this just a digress. Umraniyat was proposed by Maulana Iqbal in the 1930s and 40s, I think, and he started with the idea that somebody must actually know not only just the Quranic sciences but also the Western sciences at the same time, and so as vice versa. So he did not actually say which one first come first, you see, but the idea was that somebody must have or everybody must have this this thing, because he was, I think, quite practical in the sense that he was thinking that that because most of the knowledge that we have currently or during his time seems to have originated from the West, or at least has been modified by the West, that we have to actually infuse into it the Islamic sciences so that we can understand it from the Islamic perspective and make it more malleable or more useful for us as a Muslim to live the way we are. Okay, next. So the third part of the thing was, to me, the international construct of the knowledge, or rebuilding the Ummatic networking and globe. I think is very important for me, meaning that I think we need to actually try to collaborate and to actually work with our brothers and sisters everywhere else. And this was happening in IIM, is good. But at the same time, that we need to actually not just working with, but I think we need to understand that we need to push for a higher level together, you know, and internationalizing the mindset of local students and stuff. This is what I was saying just now. So rather than trying to force them to actually accept our value system, but also to actually for us to understand them, and at the same time for us to actually benefit from the good thing that they have. And probably even a good practice that were practiced somewhere else. So and addressing the contemporary issues of the world, for example, the malaise of the riba-based financial system. Of course, IIM was in the forefront of this, and still is, I think, in the forefront of this. But I think we still need to do a lot of work on this, because there are a lot of issues related to this. And for example, the simple question of, let's say, why do we benchmark our financial what do you call it financial things from the non-riba from the riba-based system, rather than having our own ways of doing and calculating things? Okay, and also be aware of the evolving demands for graduate from international market. This is what I think I am was, I think, quite successful in the beginning, because I think our students were able to actually adapt themselves in the marketplace everywhere else. I've been to many of these countries, and I'm happy to note that our students were doing quite, or rather our alumni are doing quite well there. I was in Afghanistan before the war, and I was in Turkey. I was also in Bosnia and even in Africa, for that matter. So I see our students, or rather our graduates, were doing quite well in there. But I think now is more important that because of the question of the phenomenon of globalization, that we stress more on our internationalization aspect, in the sense that our graduates must be able to actually be market ready for international market, especially now that in Malaysia we also have problem in terms of our job market. So our students are moving somewhere else. And only few days ago, I was talking to one person where his children were working in Europe, and he was saying that that I should prepare the student for this type of eventualities. I think there are a few of our students who are even working in Australia, for that matter, and maybe in the UK. So I think we need to actually be aware of the evolving demands over there, and what type of jobs that are being what do you call it, pursued or rather offered over there. And then internationalizing our teaching scope is and coverage is very important. Learning through precedents. I think we have a lot of precedents to learn from. But at the same time, I think we need to look at the best practice model and how we can actually Islamicize in inverted commas all these fields. And another important thing is, to me, is the international trips for our students. Sorry. That's why I think when I started CAET, I insisted that every department in CAET should organize. Sorry, I have a problem with my throat now. I insisted that every department must organize for the students international trips, and they have to prepare for it. And not that I need the university to pay for it, but we need the student to organize themselves so that they can find the fund. They can find ways and means to be somewhere else and have the opportunity to look at other places and learn from there. And another thing is the international internship. I think internship is very important, that our students who are doing practical training or so-called internship should actually try to get themselves to be placed somewhere else other than in Malaysia, and so that they can learn more. I think we have to use our friends. We have to take advantage of our friends like the IDB and all these places for us for us to actually get our students to be used to this type of thing. And my friend whom I was talking to a few days ago said that his children were doing an internship somewhere in Germany, and they were absorbed by the German companies. And so as another one was doing in France. I think we need to do more of this type of thing and try to organize it. I think Prof, Dr. Ramzi used to send one student to Japan, and now he's working with me, and I think it's a good example, that it is advantageous for us to do this. The way he look at project, the way he actually handle the projects and whatever, you can see the quality that he's doing, because he is benchmarking himself on something that he has seen somewhere else, rather than just looking at what his friends are doing here in Malaysia. Of course, it's okay to do in Malaysia, but we have to find good companies for our students to do internship. Okay, and another thing is adapting the international standard. In framing our assignment, examination, and grading for that matter, I think this is what we are trying to do, and universities is trying to do that. But I think we need to see the practical aspect of it. I was attending one conference in Yogyakarta a few years ago, and I can see that the various universities are addressing this in a way that they benchmark their assignment, they benchmark their examination question, and even grading to best practice that are done by international or other universities that are known for their qualities. And that's why, for example, one university in Pakistan, not the last year, the year before the final year, all of them already booked by Silicon Valleys, companies like Silicon Valleys in California. The reason is because they adopt this type of standard to make their students, at that level. Okay. Next. So international innovation and diffusion knowledge, I think this is very important for us. I think we need to not only produce knowledge or not only construct knowledge, but we need to actually put this knowledge into use. And and see how they are being used by the people out there on the street and in the office and whatever. I think our student needs to be able to have this experience in challenging foreign environment, so that we can actually continue to improve our standard and but I think our alumni unit in IIUM should actually work very hard on trying to get feedback from our international students, trying to see how we are going performing in terms of the how we prepare our students and our graduates for this type of markets. And I like to be in contact always with our alumni, not only from CAET but also from other faculties, and I see some of them are doing very well. Others, of course, are having problems adapting themselves. But I think, more importantly, I think we have to ask ourselves whether we prepare them well for that or not. International networking or research is very is now done in IIUM. I think it's good, but I think we need more of this. Our problem is that the system that we have. I think we need to find ways of how to actually go into this international networking, collaborating also with international projects. Our staff should not be confined only to classrooms and also to the lecture theater. I think we have to find a way how to get our staff to be able to be doing real life project out there. I've been doing that since my first day in the university in UTM, and trying to find what is the balance between professional practice and academic academic challenges that we have. But I think these projects are very important. I think the idea that we need to actually address this, and CAET, Dr. Ramzi knows this, that we are trying our best to actually get the student to do international projects. Not only international in the sense that they are overseas, but also international in the sense that the problem and issues that are presented to the students are actually of international level, so that we can actually prepare them for this type for this life, which we cannot avoid now, this phenomenon of globalization. And then we have to be updated on knowledge of world bodies, the function and the scope that they cover. I don't know how many of us in IIUM actually knows the scope and the function of IDB, for example. IDB, Islamic Development Bank, is doing a lot of work in many countries, especially in poor countries like Africa and in some places there. I've been working with them in a few projects, and I think we need to get our people to be there and to be actually getting involved with them. And I think we need to get our people. I hope the people who are in charge of what do you call it, the consultancies and whatever in the university, will try their best to get our opening for our staff to be involved with this international project. And I think now that we are a university recognized by UN, I think we need to do more on that. You know, we need to be able to actually say we are not just recognized by UN, but also we are actually actively involved with the UN, initiated programs, not only in Malaysia, but also in some other places. All right, next. So those are actually my thought on this. But I think this is just a general thing that I always like to refer to us being in the university. The idea that we are in the business of knowledge, you know. So especially for the lecturers, the question of delivery of knowledge, we have to be upgraded to the discovery of knowledge, and we have to be able at the end of the day for a student to actually construct knowledge. and at the end of the day, innovate and use this knowledge to help or to be on the bodies or the area where they are being used or being needed. All right, next. So I think the question of innovation and diffusion, of course, is to me is the most important the target that we have. So internationalization is also like that. I think it's a question of innovating and diffusing our knowledge, especially that we are international university at the international level. We must not be like other international university in Malaysia. We have many international university in Malaysia that are actually because the reason is because they just want to recruit students from overseas. We have to be more than that. We cannot be an international university just because we are catering for a certain region of the world. They send a student here, so we make money out of that and whatever. But I think we need to be able to actually that our university should actually contribute to the development of the world, the part of the world that really needs to be developed. That really need issues that need to be addressed. Yeah, and there are many now, especially in the Islamic world, and I think we need to be that. So the question of innovation and diffusion is very important. Okay, it's something that all of us should target to. Our lecturers should not be just expecting the student to answer by repeating what they have taught to the student, but rather to make the student give their opinion and innovate on what they have been taught. Next. So this is a diagram that I like to use, and I've used this many times. I think the university is about this. The idea that this what we want to do. We have these three personal attributes: the management, the personal attributes of, and then we have management skills. We have leadership attributes, and then the overlap between the personal and management skill will give us the performance drivers, and then the overlap between the leadership and the attributes and the personal attribute will give us the performance enablers, and then the management skills and leadership, I think, will performance differentiators. Now this is what we have to actually this is how how I actually interpret the university. The idea that I want to develop this university or IIUM at the time when I was there into this. The idea that we are building a holistic Muslim professional. Not only in just for Malaysia, but also for our bigger ummah, and we have to create the Tawhidic worldview, the Islamic potential, and then we have to create a conducive environment. I was actually in a way lucky that I was given two tasks at the same time, which was to be the dean and to be the lecturer at the same time to be at the university. And I think this is an opportunity for us to actually really contribute at the international level. So thank you very much. That's, I think, what I want to talk about. I hope at least some part of it what Dr. Leana has expecting. Otherwise, you can just punish me for that or whatever. I'm ready for it. Okay, so I'm ready for questions if there are any. I think we are almost there, right, in terms of time. Yeah, from Hamza.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Ismawi, for delivering the Murabbi talk. For the benefit of our audience, we have approximately 130 participants in Zoom and over 110 in YouTube. So to ensure that we give as plenty opportunities to the listeners and viewers, if you want to ask questions, you can either do it through the chat box. I saw only one so far, so I will read the question shortly. Or you can unmute and turn on your camera, or you can raise your hand or use the raise hand icon in Zoom. All right, so please be brief with your comments and questions so that Prof. Ismawi can entertain as many questions, inshallah. We have until, I was told, according to the flyer, until 11:30. So we have approximately 30 minutes for question and answers. So if you have any live questions that you would like to ask, you can raise your hands. I acknowledge the presence of Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Rector. He was in just now, but when we started the program, he was not with us, but now he's back. Okay, perhaps I will just read the first question, since there's no...
I have a question for Hamza.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, we have Prof. Fauzan and then Prof. Ma'an. So please, Prof. Fauzan.
Okay, Prof.
You
Ismawi.
don't want to show your face to Prof. Ismawi.
We always look at each other in Facebook. So
Okay.
So,
All right, please, Prof.
Ismawi,
Fauzan.
if you're giving a chance to come back to IUM, what you going to do? First three things that you want to do. You wish that you can do it. Three things.
Again.
If you are giving a chance to come back to IUM as a professor, as whatever position, what three things that you want to do?
Wow, this is big thing. Maybe I should not answer your question because I don't think anybody wants me back in the UM.
No,
Anyway,
I mean, it's just what we can improve ourselves. In other words, simple question.
okay, I think the most to me, as I presented just now, I think the most important thing is I think we need to make the university truly international.
Okay.
I think this is very important issues. How that is to be, I think we need to discuss ourselves. I have presented my idea. I think truly international means that our university, because we have so many universities in Malaysia, so they are doing their function already. So I think for us, it was, I think originally, and also it was the main intention at the setting of the university, that this university was actually for the Ummah. I remember talking to Tun M at one time, and he was saying, this is almost like our zakat to the Ummah, you know, the idea that this university should bring, what do you call it, this enlightenment for the whole of the Ummah. That's the first one. The second one, I think, is that I think we need to get the university to really practice what it's saying. The idea that I think we need to be, as I say, a real international university. There should be the blurring of these differences between us, especially this so-called international and Malaysian staff and student and whatever. I think this should not be in our university. I think I did not have that much opportunity because I did not have that many students from overseas, but we have quite a number from internal staff. So I think we need to be able to actually really become a model of how a small model that is how the Ummah can actually function in this in the enlightened environment. That's the second one. The third one, I think, is I hope that the university will actually be very sustainable in that sense. I like the idea Tan Sri is really pushing for that. But I think we have to be more working toward more of that, because I think we need to be able to show the rest of the society of how to live in a sustainable environment, and that we have to practice that. And I think the idea that we are, we should take away this biblical sort of ethos that that man has the power over environment. I think we need to actually be part of the environment and actually show that we can actually be living together with the other part of the other elements of the environment and make us very sustainable in that sense, become a model for everybody else. I think we are in an urban setting. I think we can become a very good model for other people to see this is actually what sustainable living, urban living is all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Ismawi.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Ismawi and Prof. Fauzan. I saw Prof. Ma'an and Dr. Abdul Hamid after this. So, Prof. Ma'an, do you have a question?
Thank you, Prof. Actually, I would say partially Prof. Ismawi has addressed the point I wanted to highlight, which is one of the challenges, of course, when we talk about international university, as he mentioned, is having this blend of people coming from various countries. Probably anybody would feel more comfortable within their culture, you know, to act as he has been or she has been acting in their country, because this is our comfort zone. So when we come here, I want to do it the way I've been doing it all the time. And of course, for the local community, they want people to try to follow their culture because they will feel more comfortable. Otherwise, they have to address this, you know, difference in cultures. Probably, I'm not sure, maybe Prof. Ismawi can highlight on what is his advice on how can we address this? How can we kind of have that blend where I come in with my culture to a different place, or a place or a different culture, and how can we blend that so that we feel we remove this boundary of culture? So I learned from this culture, and then maybe I leave it to him to address that issue. Professor, thank you.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing that you are raising, because to me, this is the setting up this International Islamic University in Malaysia is one opportunity for Malaysian to actually, you know, without going overseas, to become an international sort of person. Now, of course, we have people from other regions, other countries in the world, and we had been sometimes we have been a little bit more too concerned with our own what do you call it, background and profession and system for that matter. Not really because we want it, but because we are used to it. So this is an opportunity in the university. To me, I look at it as the opportunity for us to actually try to understand each other, try to sort of see where our common ground are, and at the same time try to address the differences that we had. And by doing so, I think we will be able to actually come up with better things in the university. Like, for example, maybe there are issues that are being faced by the people somewhere else that we are not we took for granted in Malaysia, for example, or even vice versa for that matter. So I think this is that opportunity given by the university that we have come together, and we can contribute in different so that we can contribute our effort from our own what do you call it, the angle, or even our own origin, and same that and at the end of the day maybe come up with a solution that can actually address this situation and give us more, create better common spaces rather than different spaces. But I think at the end of the day, I think we also need to understand that people are different, but we have to come up and say, okay, there are different there are levels of tolerance, level of understanding that we can believe each other, because I think the Ummah is like that. I think the Ummah has different background, you know, it's not just Malays, but or Pakistan or whatever. But I think I think this is the beauty about the Ummah, and I think we need to grasp upon this beauty rather than to make it difficult for us. What's up? But sometimes, you know, saying is easier than doing, because sometimes we tend to be what do you call it, colored. Our action tends to be colored by what we are used to. And I think living overseas, as many of us has been living overseas, for you here to live in this country, for example, this opportunity for us to understand this and try to rationalize why certain people are doing certain things in different ways. You know, and I think we and so as in education, for that matter, how we actually look at what are the issues that come up in certain fields of education. Okay, so I don't know whether I'm answering your question or not, but I think my what I'm stressing here is that we must try to come up with a better, I mean, we must build a bigger common ground, and IAUM is providing that. I know it's not going to be the final and last thing to do that's being done, but I think it will at least show in our psyche that we are a member of the Ummah rather than just Malaysian or Pakistanis or Indian or Bangladesh or whatever, you know. And I think we need to look at this, and we have to, and the only way how we can bring the idea of brotherhood in Islam is that way, the idea that we have to understand each other. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Ismawi. We have 3 raised hands in Zoom, and we have 2 questions in the chat box. So the sequence of hands raised: Dr. Abdul Hamid, Prof. Mira, and Tan Sri Zul. So please, Dr. Abdul Hamid.
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Am I clear?
Yes.
Thank you, Prof. Ismawi, mashallah, wonderful. Jazakumullahu khaira. I have 2 small comments, and they can be also questions. Number 1, how far or to what extent IUM had benefited from this alumni, especially when it comes to the role of those who are holding big positions. We have CEO of banks, holders of many international organizations, many ministers. So how far IUM has benefited from them? For instance, with regard to the IUM students, current IUM students, we need to support especially those who are from Islamic countries, or those who are from the minorities, those who have no financial support from their families. Since we are talking about the Ummah, belonging to the Ummah, so we should allocate certain amount of money for those students. For those students, if we cannot provide them with any financial assistance, so at least we generate money from IUM alumni for those who, especially those who are holding big positions. Number 2, in your opinion, Prof. Ismawi, how could we enhance the Islamization idea? Islamization and as well as internationalization. So for instance, if we can open some branches overseas having the same IUM vision and mission and whatever that is within IUM, because if we cannot bring them here to Malaysia, so at least when you open new branches in Asia, for instance, one in Africa, one in Latin America, in Europe, so at least the role, inshallah, of IUM will be also there. So these are my 2 small, I can say, very important questions, because some students are very talented, but they have no financial support from their families. So in order for us to support them, we bring them here to Malaysia, and we generate money from the, we ask the contribution of ex-IM alumni, especially those who are holding big positions, or we open branches outside Malaysia. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Abdul Hamid. For his second remarks or question, that is exactly one question in the chat box. When you talk about internationalization, is there or was there any intention to embark on a satellite campus outside the country? So if you can answer briefly the two questions.
Can you still hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay. Now, thank you very much, Prof. Hamid. I think that those are very relevant questions. I think I'll start with the second one. Okay. All right. I think you're talking about how our alumni can actually support this thing. I think this in some way they have started now, because in a way that I think our alumni are making some impact on this. I went to East Africa once, and our alumni are actually teaching in a few universities in East Africa, in Tanzania, in Uganda, and all these places. And I think they are bringing the model that we have. Maybe we are not able to actually open branches there. But I think that's one of the things that we are contributing to, in terms of the fact that our alumni are actually not only just teaching, but also are actually making are in position of making decision and making management improvements to places where they are serving. And then one particular university I was impressed with was the Ummah University in Kenya, and where one of the high official of the university was actually our alumni. And the way they are operating and the way they want to actually what they want to actually achieve, so quite similar to what we are doing here in Malaysia. Of course, adaptation needs to be done. And then another one is that university in Uganda, which is the Islamic University in Uganda. I think that is a few of our alumni are there, and they are, I think, contributing. On other areas, like for example, in the economic sector, for example, I think some of our friends, I met a few in Bosnia and in Afghanistan before the war, and our alumni were doing quite well, and they are actually contributing toward making, trying to make what they call contribution in terms of getting more of our students there. Getting education that they had actually got from us, and the other thing that we can do is what I myself personally have done was trying to have what you call it, develop universities somewhere else, for example in Mozambique or in Yemen or in Afghanistan for that matter, and few places. I think that's one of the things that we contribute in our own what they call restricted ways. But of course, as you said, opening the branch would be a good idea. But I hope, but I think that will need some financial support, and maybe what we can do is to start talking with our alumni, and maybe there are some of them that are in position to actually help in their own countries. And that we can actually help them through probably our curricula, or even maybe sending our staff to make sure that the standards are the way we are supposed to be. Okay.
Are you done, Prof. Ismawi, answering the question?
Okay, sorry. So the first question was from Hamza. I forgot. Sorry.
This is regarding there are students who cannot afford to study, and how can we utilize the success of our alumni to help out these kind of students?
Maybe our alumni department should answer this, but I personally feel that I think we need to work harder on our alumni, connect them more, and I think this is what the Western universities are doing. My own university, for example, my own alma mater, Edinburgh University. I get the letters every, or rather the pamphlets every month, and they keep on telling you what our projects are to help the students that are over there and whatever. And you know, sometimes you contribute because they tell you in very creative ways or how you can help and whatever. Other than that, of course, I think our alumni, many of them are holding high position now overseas, and I think through their own ways, they are actually helping in a way, because for example, they are actually promoting the universities, and other than that, of course, I think maybe some of them are involved. I mean, not to say maybe, but there are also already people who are involved with this, setting up study centers, and also college and whatever. I've been to Turkey, for example. There are a few places in Turkey where actually our alumni are there, and they are actually, but these are private organization. This is what they are trying to do, and because in Turkey you cannot have government universities like this, so they have these private universities. I was in the eastern part of Turkey where they have these places or university which was actually targeted toward the Syrian refugees, helping the young from the Syrian refugees to actually get into the what you call the higher education. And I think this is one of the ways that they can do that. But in developed countries like the UK or in the US, I think one of the way that we can do is to trying to help them to upgrade what they have. In the UK, they have these centers which are actually teaching Islamic program. I can't remember now what it's called, but they have a network of it all over the UK. At one time, there were representatives of them who came to see me, and they were talking about how to actually upgrade this program that are being started by the Muslim population of UK into something which is recognizable. And I was already on discussion with them, but I think then I left the university where I was, and then I don't know whether it's still continuing. But the idea was that I think we need to actually look at very carefully how we can have this effort that are being done by our brothers and sisters overseas in terms of giving education, higher education, especially toward our younger generation over there, and especially in a very challenging environment like the UK or in the US. And I think this is a lot of effort are being done there, and I hope that our university can get involved with this, inshallah. But other than that, Prof. Abdul Hamid, is I think we can start with our online program. This is something that I was hoping to do when I was in IUM at one time, because the idea that we can reach people that are actually in needs of higher education but cannot come here. And when I was in Al Madinah International University, what we did was we came up with a system which was very cheap, so that people even with a handphone can actually follow the program in university. and people who are working, like the security guard, for example, can follow the program that we have. And so I think the idea is to make education, higher education especially, more accessible to everybody. I think we should start with that. And the idea of having a branch and whatever, I think this is when we, if the university can actually talk with our alumni who are doing great job. I was in Afghanistan, to tell you honestly, just before the Taliban took over, or the war with the Taliban recently. I was in Afghanistan, and I was talking to a few of our alumni in Afghanistan, and they were actually asking whether IUM can actually have a way of helping them to develop locally in Afghanistan in terms of higher education. But then the war started coming in, and everything sort of fizzled off. I don't know whether I'm answering your question or not, but this my feeling. We can use the technology, and you can imagine people in Kenya or in Africa where they don't have even access to the big cities to study with us. I think we can do that with I was in Masai Mara. And there were a few Muslim families in Masai Mara, and some one or two of the children were actually following education somewhere else.
Okay. We have two questions to be asked live. Prof. Mira and Tan Sri Zol. So, Prof. Mira, you raise your hand first.
It's okay. I think Tan Sri actually have raised his hand earlier. So.
Oh, okay. I missed that one. So, please, Tan Sri.
Yes, thank you very much, Mira. You read my mind. I have to leave by 11:30. There's something that I need to attend to. Thank you. Assalamualaikum, Prof. Ismawi. Thank you very much. I thought your talk is very much enlightening. I thought I would have listened to you earlier before I became the rector. Half of my problem will be solved. Inshallah. I would just want to acknowledge your contribution, and I just also want to give you some comfort. The many things that you have said, somehow or other, we are already trying to make inroads into it. For example, the deputy rector now is known as Deputy Rector Academic and Internationalization, precisely for what you've said. You also talk about real life project. I think the university for the last 2 years has gone into a community engagement project that every student now must have a community to work on, every one of them. So we are trying to manage with them so that they can really look at real life solution for real life problems and put it in real time as much as possible. So it's no longer just a classroom thing. So that's the second thing. The thing that you talk about, world bodies, yes, we have now been engaged with UNESCO, United Nations, all these things that is quote unquote to many people are non-Islamic. So they come to me and say, why do you want to engage with these non-Islamic bodies? Now I can say, you talk to Prof. Ismawi so that he can explain to you why these bodies are important. So they just want to have these Islamic bodies. The non-Islamic bodies to them are not important, but I am with you. I think the world bodies is our play field. We need to show that Islam is relevant everywhere, not just the Ummah, but the other part of the world is also doing this, right? The other point that I want to also engage with you is this whole question of continuum. This is where I want to get your feedback. We are going to meet our 40th anniversary 2 years from now, 2023. And I thought that will be an inflection point in terms of continuum. We have done a lot of successes the last 40 years. The question that we're asking ourselves, what can we do in the next 40 years? Maknanya, there are certain things have changed. Sustainable development has come in. Again, this is something which is, I thought, a major sort of input for the Muslims. If we can make that as a turning point for the university, I think inshallah we can sort of paint a better picture of IUM is all about. But finally, I think Asmawi, we are not going to be an international university. I think we're going to be a global university, which is a two different side understanding. Global, if I work with Bangladesh, international, if I work with Bangladesh, then I am international. but global means you need to work with the whole world itself, humanity as it were. So we are trying to push this global idea. I want your comments on this so that we can also understand where the shift of the university is possible for the next 40 years. So before that, thank you very much once again for this inspiration as a Murabbi. We'll take notes of many of the things that we do, inshallah. We'll try to deliver it as much as possible. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Mira.
So you're leaving now, or?
I will listen to you before I leave.
I was hoping that you leave now.
No. They can wait for a while.
Okay. Now, yeah, I think that shift from international to global is I think the natural shift that we need to make, and I think we need to, you know, idea of Islamic in sense that it is not just for the Muslim as such. I think we must address the whole system that we have, the world system that we have, and I think that's a good thing. And I think we need to make ourselves becoming really that global player. Now, how do we do that? I think the idea is, I mean, one of the things that for us to do is maybe to start, as I said, to make sure that we are no more insular in our approach. We have to be open up, and the idea that we need to address, we need to face the challenges that this globalization and global picture is doing with us. That's why we have problem now, because we keep on like becoming like snail, you know, like or even like tortoise for that matter. Once we have problem, we move in. You see, I think we need to be able to actually really face this problem. And how do we do that? I think we need to prepare our students. We need to prepare our staff so that they will be able to actually address this situation. I remember one of the good thing that Abdul Hamid actually taught me was the idea that we need to address the situation and not be afraid of it. You see, the idea that we need to understand. In order for us to address it, of course, we need to understand it first. So the idea that we need to understand that and actually break it up into the various what do you call it parts of it, then we'd be able to reassemble them back. We have to be able to. I think the first public lecture that I gave in IIUM was about change. I think we need to be able to contribute to change rather than for us to be changed by other people. I think this is, in order for us to do that, we have to understand the background of all these dynamics, you know, and in order to do that, to understand all this dynamic, we have to be able to first befriend these people. You know, I mean, don't treat them as your enemies, but treat them as your partners of evolving yourself. You know, your contact with them, your interaction with them is actually a contribution for you to understand them better, so that you, and at the same time, to understand yourself. Because if you only understand others, you don't understand yourself, you have problem. So I think it works both ways, Tan Sri. I think we need to be able to we need to be the citizen of the world. And that's why I like the idea that the university now is the UN university. I think we need, within the UN itself, we had a milieu of people. There's so many different types, so many different levels of development and whatever. So we can actually strategize and where we can start. Of course, we cannot solve everything at the same time. I mean, we cannot impact everything at the same time, but we can actually start small. And I think what we are doing as IIUM is, I think, proving quite well overseas, in the sense that our students, our graduates are making themselves what you call heard, and at the same time being counted in some of the issues that are facing their communities. And of course, you know that communities are not an island; they are actually part of the world, and they cannot be the solution to things. Maybe look local, but actually has the impact on the whole system. So I mean, I don't know whether I'm
Yep,
saying
yep.
things that,
Thank you. I heard everybody here use. I'm going to use your tortoise metaphor a little bit more frequent now, and the snail metaphor. I think we need to, get away from these two metaphor.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, Prof. I need to go.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Hamzah,
so-
and thanks.
Okay, thank you, Tan
Assalamualaikum.
Sri. Okay,
Thank
we
you.
have we have one more live question, and then I'll read the question in the chat. Okay, so please, Prof. Mira. Prof. Mira is from CPD and KICT.
Ya, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ismawi, thank you so much for very enlightening session and presentation. Just want to comment on probably if you would like to sort of give your thoughts on this as well, because you mentioned a lot about the internalizations, but I think it takes quite a lot of steps to reach there, because when I went to US recently, a lot of universities actually started to coin about diversity, equity, and inclusions, DEI. It has been an agenda for all universities. So they have been talking about these diversities, and they acknowledge that this is the problem they have in US education system. Yet we have been talking about internationalizations. We have been talking about we have been talking about rahmatan lil alamin. But when it comes to value wise, we are Muslim being, we're aware of that. But when it comes to decision making, it's a very culture being. So we are so afraid of acknowledging differences. We are seeing differences as barriers rather than as an asset. And in many ways, this is manifested to our class. A lot of our students are afraid to actually having a group which is different, which is of different nationalities. Usually they will be clustered into nationalities. So the class with very minimum numbers of nationalities, eventually they will suffer. And some of them, they actually requested to be to have the group project as individual, because they are not comfortable to actually blend in with some other majority culture. So this is what I think what we have. I'm not sure the homework that we haven't really resolved yet, because we are still into culture being when it comes to decision making, and also in some meetings we are so into culture being as well. We raise some issues and we mention about nationalities, and this will actually put the divides even more bolder. So how ready, from your perspective, globally, how ready we are in terms of addressing this diversity as part of our asset? Because I know some universities in the US now recruiting academics from different cultures, so that these academics can actually become the bridge between university and the students. Like, for example, I know some of the universities recruited Muslims, so that because the academicians the faculty members can become the bridge in terms of making sure the students is accepted in the community. So these kind of things, we should not see differences as the barriers. We should see it as the asset. But I think it hasn't been yet, I'm not sure, it hasn't been yet manifested well. We are so into culture being for the moment, and acknowledging that is kind of taboo. So I'm not sure how many more steps that we need to get there, because seems as so many things has been done, but yeah, we haven't reached there yet, and it can easily be reflected from how our students think. So that will be all, Prof. Looking forward for your advice and then comments on this as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I ask you a sensitive question?
Sure, Prof.
You are from Indonesia, right?
Yes, I am, Prof.
Yeah, you see, you come from a situation which is much better than me to answer that question. See, because I think sorry, this question of diversity is very important to me in IIUM. When you talk about not only about internationalization or Islamization for that matter, this element of diversity is I think the key to a university. Not only Islamic university, but also to any university for that matter. If you read the history of all the universities in the world, especially those that started in Andalusia, for example, at one time, and they were not called university, but centers of education. They actually started with this diversity, the idea of it is through, through looking at diversity that you are able to actually frame some of the issues that you need to answer in the universities. You see, because without the diversity, without the differences, you don't have issue. It's difficult for you to actually see issues that are outside what you are used to, and I think universities need that, and I think because of diversity that IIUM is offering, it can become actually a model for that. But I think IIUM, with all due respect, Prof. Zul is no more around, but with all due respect now, I think we do have these tendencies of actually moving back on that. I think we need to be able to actually push forward on it. When I was the deputy director of IIUM, and I keep on talking about the past, I'm sorry. But at one time I was asked to actually, take on the student affairs side. And I, sorry. And I have experience with many of our students, and they have unique issues with them. And I think this is what color the sorry.
Jazakallah shifaan hasana.
Inshallah. I have problem with my throat. Now, when I talk a lot, I have problem with my throat.
Okay, sorry, Prof.
Okay, so it's okay. Now, you see, I met quite a lot of students when I was there, and many, of course, come from Indonesia, and I remember one particular case was from Papua at that time, and how to handle his situation. I remember some of the solution my friends were saying. They said, I was telling me, and they said, I think it's the end of the journey for this boy. I said, no. We have to make it work. We have to. This student is going to go back with IIUM degree. Whatever his problem is, he's going to go back with IIUM degree. So we work on the problem. You see what I can't tell you the problem now. I think it's quite personal, some of them. Now, but what actually pushed me toward that was the idea of this question of diversity within our ummah. That we have to make sure that the ummah is working in all sectors of the ummah, in the various part of it. And one of the ways to do that is to understand their problem, and not to say that, ini budak ni ngacau aja ni. Sorry, but really the idea is that we have to actually understand where he come from, and if our curriculum is actually designed to be an international curriculum, then we can address the situation. And so as the university for that matter, the organization of the university, the idea that our brother Abdul Hamid was, or was it from one, I can't remember, raised up the idea of how to support this type of students. They are here, and we need to support them, and we have to find ways how to support them. But at the same time, we don't want them to actually be dependent on us. We want to actually empower them. Now we have to find ways of how to empower them. So one of the ways is the boy that we had was, we actually gave him something that he could use to actually expand his little economy and to be quite independent. And university was actually only supporting him in the sense of making it life less difficult for him. And Alhamdulillah, after he took more years than other students, but I think he finished at the end of the day. And now I'm receiving information that he's doing a lot of work for a small Muslim community in his area. This is to me a reward for us, you see. So as other issues that are related to universities, the idea of you know, sometimes I remember in the early days when you know, students who are not praying, the girl students from overseas, they are not praying with the talkung. You know, these Malaysian ladies have to pray with the talkung, but these students were praying without it, and some people are saying, "Hey, betul ke dia ni?" I mean, these are, we have not really thought ourselves of the differences. You know, we have not actually organized ourselves, our minds in terms of accepting these differences. And I asked them a simple question: what does covering the aurat mean? You know, does it mean that I can't remember people saying that it has to be done with the telco? You know, of course, is the better way for Malaysian to do that. But I think this is situation. So in our curriculum, so you are from the ICT, and then I think we need to be able to actually address this situation of how the different level of things and how we can understand these differences to actually enrich the ummah rather than make the ummah difficult. Our problem now is that we make it more difficult. That's why we have all this sectarian problem between us. But if we can look at this from the way of enriching the ummah, I think it's going to be better. Some now Turkey is opening for tourism, a lot of tourism from Malaysia, and people are coming back and say the Turkish are having dogs in their houses, you know, and they are praying beside the dogs for that matter. I mean, I've known this so many years ago, but to me it's nothing. You know, I mean, to me is you have to recognize this is their point of view, their way of life and whatever. But you tell a Turkish, even though at one time when 1980s many of them don't pray, and you tell them they are non-Muslim, they will kill you. You know, so I tell you, I mean, this is something that I think we need to recognize, that this diversity is actually a positive thing for us. Yeah, positive for us, especially as an Islamic university. This is a positive thing for us. You know, I mean, somebody was asking about my student were from West Africa, for example, the way they bring themselves around. I said, what's the problem with it? They are more Muslim than, they're more Islamic than me, more Islamic than the other people. So what's the problem with it? I mean, this is something that we need to understand, that this different cultural background is actually enriching the ummah. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I don't know whether I answered you or not.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof. Ismawi. Okay, just to check on the time, because Prof. Ismawi has declared he can speak for 3 hours before we actually started just now. So I have to moderate that we perhaps should stop within 5 minutes or so. We have one raised hand, Ustaz Datuk Hamidon, and then I will read 2 questions in the chat, and then I think we should conclude, because I think we should respect Prof. Ismawi. His throat is also not with him this morning. Okay, so please, Ustaz Hamidon.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum, Prof. Thank you for...
Hello, mashallah, long time no see.
Yes. Thank you for the great reminders. I come to realize, though there might be generalization in this, I think we are afflicted with the malady of the majority syndrome. We think that we are the majority and we don't need others, the minority. And that has been drummed into our mind. We Muslims who are of Jannah, those kuffar are the firewood of hell. We forgot that the Prophet's first responsibility is to call people to Islam. So we thought this is our Islam here. That is why we can see a lot of proof. More people became Muslim in Singapore than in Malaysia. So when our students came in, they have this concept of, we don't need the others. We are here, and even if we fail, even if we don't recognize the others, we are still, the National Islamic University, although the mediocrity is starting to set into our own self. So what do you think, Prof, about this? Thank you.
I think this, I call this, I might be wrong, but I call this insular type of thinking. The idea that you look at yourself only. But I think for us Muslim, I think we have to ask ourselves the original question. The original question is we are being, what is the reason that for us to be here? The reason that for us to be here is for us to essentially serve. And serving is not to serve for ourselves, it's for other people too. And mostly for other people than for ourselves, you know, because for ourselves, we have covered our needs and whatever. But now it's time for us to look and say, okay, what can we do to help others? And maybe, but at the same time, that is also giving us some problem because we think that we are superior than others to be able to help others. No, the idea that we look at this helping others as a way of helping ourselves, because we enrich ourselves by helping others, and because the others, I'm sure, within the framework of the time that we are helping them, they will be able to contribute largely to our life and significantly to our life. That's why I keep on telling my student, you know, a simple approach that I have with my student. I said, you know, when I teach you, I expect to learn as much from you as you learn from me. Is it? So it must be a two-way process. It cannot be just a one-way process. The idea that when you interact, when you have, and when you sort of get around with the others, that you actually benefit as much from them as you benefit from them, as they benefit from you. Then the environment, then the relationship become a positive relationship. Otherwise, you always think that you are the one who is giving things, and you expect people to say thank you to you. You see, but you haven't actually really said thank you to them for their contribution to your life. For example, when you deal with students, you had been the deputy director of student affairs many years, and I was only covering for a few months. And you know, when you have the student, you actually gain a lot of knowledge in terms of how to handle the student's problem. What are the problems that some of the problem are, I mean, some people just push it aside and say, budak ni ngacau. I mean the idea that every issues that you address is actually a way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teach you how to actually bring up your life, you know, and push you to the higher level. And not look at that as a burden to you. See, this is a problem. That you are superior, you think that you are actually somebody else is a burden to you. It's not. You see, that somebody is being put there so that it can make your life go into a higher level rather than making you stuck in the rod, for that matter. I don't know whether I'm answering.
No, thank you, Prof. That's right. The main thing is that we have to reset our attitude and our outlook. That's it.
Okay. I will read one question which is related to internationalization, at least one of the 4 things that you mentioned just now. So the question is from Dr. Muhammad Aslam Akbar. IUM is always heaven for internationals, where there is plenty to learn from locals and vice versa. However, many international staff and students currently lack interest in coming to IUM. What is your advice for the university management to inspire the internationals in general and motivate the international community on campus in particular? So if you can just answer in 1 or 2 minutes, your views.
Prof. Hamzah, can you simplify that question for me?
Okay, so basically, during your time, IUM is a heaven. Every international, either students or staff, would like to come. But now, according to this view, there seems to be lack of interest, people coming to IUM. So what is your advice to the university management to inspire internationals to come to IUM, and also those who are already in IUM to become motivated? Your views.
I think the problem is during the time we were before, we were very anxious. We were very excited to get our other people to come to us, to come to IUM, and we try our best to make them come. And IUM was at that time, of course, still very new. The idea was quite a novelty in the sense, it become very attractive to people, But I think the question is here is how to keep the momentum. And this is where we have some problem now, where I think the staff or even students are feeling that IUM is putting less emphasis on them. I think this maybe there is this feeling that IUM is now lacking in terms of the idea that there is this group of students that needs some sort of attention different from local. Because I think my advice to the university, if you are called that advice, is actually to understand them more. During our time, I remember, that the staff who have some problem. I remember during my own time, for example, when international staff have problem, one of the first person that they see was me. I'm quite happy about that because they came to me and they told me about their problem and whatever. And we tried our best to support them, And I think this listening ears is very important, especially for the staff. We may not be able to help financially, but we may be able to come up with some ideas how they can actually reorganize themselves so that the life become more bearable and become more enjoyable in the university. But at the same time, I think the question and that they can make friends. You see, sometimes staying overseas is very lonely thing. I remember when I was in Jeddah, for that matter. Sometimes it can be quite lonely, but when you have friends, when you have developed your connection with the local people and whatever, I think they make life very interesting. I remember when I was in Jeddah, just to tell you an experience myself. I was probably among the only. I was not probably, but I was the only non-Saudi staff that are invited to all function of the university. And function either official function or the private function of the university, by the staff. The reason was very simple because, to me, making friends and connecting with the locals and also with the international staff there is the key to making your life more happy in the same place in the place that you're working in. Other than that, of course, people can understand your problem much better if you talk about it rather than just keeping quiet about it. But university, I think, in the sense, you are using the word advice, which I really don't like to use because I don't think I can give advice. The idea is, I think the university should actually try to understand that these people come from different environment, that they come from different areas. If you want them to actually be like us, it's impossible. I think we need to recognize that they come from different background. They have different values, but even though they are Muslims, but they have different expectation in life. So I think we need to address all this situation. And we need to look ourselves as facilitators rather than as controllers. This is the problem with the university organization, not only our university, but in most universities. Now it is also happening at the central level, at the Kementerian level, at the ministry level, higher education, where they try to make everybody submit to same standard, same procedures. You cannot do that. This university is even though it's not even an international university in name, you have to promote diversity. Our friend just now was talking about it. This diversity is the one that enrich the university, and we have to solve this problem differently. It may take some time, but I think you have to develop that way. And tak adalah, sorry, sometimes use Malay kan. You sometimes I see honestly, I see some staff are not actually making effort to understand the problem of the international student or the international staff. I remember we had these issues in that's one. Another one that we have a problem is prejudice. You see, and Dato' Hamidun was talking about that just now. The idea that this prejudice that we have, I think we need to, you know, what is the difference between us and another Muslim? It's our taqwa, level of taqwa, not because he is from somewhere else or from of a different color. I think this need to be there. You know, we have to become the real. Oh my, no, I'm talking too much now. Never mind. So I think that's about it. My advice is very simple. Is there must be a lot of meetings between the lecturers and students from international university. We must make them feel that they are welcome in our environment. They have problems. Dr. Lihana is there, and whatever. We have to. We should understand this, you know, and not look at the problem as memanjakan dia orang. No, it's not memanjakan. It's a question of us trying to understand them and trying to. Eventually, they will be like us. You see, so what's the problem?
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Ismawi, for your Murabbi talk and also willingness to entertain as many questions. We intend to stop at 11:30. Now it's already 12. So we hope that you will be invited again to share on a different topic.
That will depend on Dr. Lihana, you know, whether she like me or not, giving things like this.
And I also would like to thank all the viewers and listeners on YouTube channel as well as Zoom for their presence and participation in question and answers. With that, I pass back to the MC, Brother Azim, for the closing remarks. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, Emeritus Professor. May Allah grant you both good health so we will all continue to benefit directly from your wisdom. As someone from the younger generation, I've learned so much during the past 1.5 hours. I have been given enlightenment on what I should do as a student and what should I expect from the university and also their organization. It was a really good session for me as well, even though I came from a younger generation. It gave me an outlook what I should do and what should not in the future. All right, with this, we come to the end of the session. May Allah continue to provide us with His guidance and protection. Thank you again, everyone, for joining the session. We end with Tasbih Kafarah and Suratul As.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.